so great, when you're so pretty. Yeah, you got me.
And it's lights out and away they go. And they're going 2 by 2. It's very good pack racing. A lot of divisions need to be watching this because I know a lot of divisions, it's very difficult, even for me, it's difficult to pack racing. It's good as Akato gets tapped and slightly spun by Ekim.
Oh my word.
They're gonna stay side by side. Ekim's not giving it up as much as they can. They're still side by side.
I don't know how they're pulling this off. The race, but congratulations to Zach Hoffman, who won finish.
And a very big hello everybody, welcome along to the Kingdom of Bahrain for round 3 of the Aussie Racing Series, a history-making circuit. It hosted the first ever round of Formula 1 in the Middle East. This is the circuit we're racing on today, 5.4 kilometres in length, 15 turns, 3 DRS zones, plenty of overtaking opportunities, and our first sprint race of the season. Here is your commentary team.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the third round of ARL Elite. It is your streamer Salty, and I'm joined by the medium TC Bandit himself, Wearer Boy. How are you, Wearer? He's going to ghost me after I said we're going to start in 15 seconds.
I'm having a few issues with my microphone, but
Oh,
they
thank
should
God.
be. I'm alright, Salty. I'm looking forward to this race today. I think Elite Division is probably the one I've been looking forward to most this week because we've got the fastest drivers, the guys with the most talent, the least assists. So we'll really see some driving talent out there today.
Well, for the people that don't know, we are on a sprint race weekend, so that'll mean we will have 2 races and we don't have qualifying.
That is correct. We will have a sprint format race. The current standings, which you can see on screen right now, the top 10 will be reversed. So we'll have JJ on pole. Joining him on the front row will be Kebab, Crush and Ekim in P3, P4, Spliff P5, CJM P6, Zay and Vlad P7, P8, and Dutchy and Zakov, the 2 championship leaders, on the 5th row of the grid. So it's an interesting format. I suspect that we'll see a few interesting lunges on the first few laps of the sprint, and going into the race we'll see how the strategy plays out, but I'm excited to see what happens.
Hopefully we'll get a bit of carnage, just not affecting any of the Williams drivers, and then just affect maybe the Red Bull drivers, maybe.
I'm not sure about that. I'd
No?
rather see I'd prefer to see the Williams driver. I'm joking. I don't want to see anyone in
Wow.
incidents because I am the FIA for this division along with Fluxy and Tazza, so I'd rather we stay clean so I have an easy time doing the stewarding. But I mean, if anything did happen, I'd rather it happen to any car that's not a Red Bull, to be honest.
Well, I do usually ask people who they think is going to win. But you are, am I right in saying you're Red Bull? I forget.
I am a Red Bull driver, and I
Yeah.
do think Zakov's going to win,
Yeah.
but Jacko is back on the grid. I don't want to hype him up too much, but Jacko, who was last seasin's title contender, he hasn't been racing. The last 2 weeks he's been out
He's
with
had
an
some
unfortunate issue.
Yeah.
His shifters had a few problems, but he's back in the race today. He's been practicing. He's switched to no line, which he's very proud of. So we'll see how he goes. I think he's one to watch, not just in the sprint, but in the feature as well.
Val and Jakio were good duo near the end of the season. They were making up a lot of points on those Red Bulls.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully Zakov stays ahead. I think the sprint race will set the mood for the feature race for most of the drivers. So if they have a good sprint, they'll be able to have a good result in the feature. But I still think Zakov's going to run away with it today.
Well, I do have some housekeeping to do, if people do not know. For the next month, over August, if you subscribe to the channel, you will be into the draw to win one of three $50 Steam vouchers. I know I have entered by subscribing with my Prime, so if you've got Prime, I would recommend using it on this channel, because then you'd have a decent chance of winning $50. It's a decent chunk of money. I don't know what I'd spend it on. I think I've said that I might spend it on CS cases. Promise I don't have addiction, but I do
I was
enjoy
gonna
opening some
ask
CS
what you'd buy
cases.
with it. Do
Yeah,
you
no,
think
that.
anyone would buy Bitcoin?
Oh, some people might buy F1 Manager, because that is
Oh
coming out at
yeah,
the end of August.
that's I
I'm
completely
excited for that.
forgot.
I got that pre-ordered. I love management games, so I'm also very hyped for that.
Did you play Motorsport Manager?
Yes, and Football Manager.
Oh yeah, you're one of those.
Yeah, I'm one of those nerdy types that just like playing management games.
I think I'd rather be the driver. I think it's more fun to be in the car rather than telling the car what to do. But that's just me. There's lots of possibilities with $50. I think I would probably just save it and then see what interesting game comes up soon. But F1 Manager, that's one to watch, actually.
Definitely, especially if you're into those different management games. You can also, while we wait a little bit, as everyone gets the lobby ready up, because it does take a bit longer than usual. And we did start a bit earlier than usual, just so we could explain these few things. You can take a look at the calendar, because next week we have Saudi Arabia. Are you looking forward to that? Where do you like that track?
Jeddah is my favorite track. Well, it was my favorite track in the last game. I think I still do like it. I've never done a race in a league with it, but my expectations for Jeddah are high. I know there's lots of drivers that are just TT merchants, spend hours doing time trial around there. So hopefully we get a good race. What are you thinking about the
I
track,
personally
Salty?
don't like Jeddah, but
Really? What?
that was because with my wheel that I had, it was a bit rough. Because I was using the default Logitech G29, and it hurts your hands using it too much just because of the shape of the wheel. But I did get a mod recently for my wheel, so hopefully I'll have good turning, because I think that was one of my weak points, is hitting that apex in every corner. But I still don't think I'll like it.
Should gain you a few
Okay.
tenths.
Maybe. I think more of anything, I just got to keep it clean and not die off the
Oh
start.
yeah. I mean, if we've learned anything from the races this week, is that turn one can be so unpredictable. So much
Especially on
carnage is going
those
to take
sharp
place.
turn ones,
Oh yeah, the
like
slow ones.
Kota, Monza. It's another
I
slow one.
think,
Or Bahrain, obviously.
yeah, I think the good thing about Jeddah is that you're going to see a lot of drivers using their heads, driving with their brains, because we're going to have three consecutive DRS zones, and we saw a bit of the DRS chickening going on in the real Grand Prix with Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. But I think having three DRS zones so close together is going to be a big um, thing to watch, because I think a lot of the drivers are going to be lifting or not using their battery, just trying to play games with the other guy. So I think next week's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm definitely expecting a decent chunk of overtakes and decent chunk of mind games, staying behind a driver just so you can build up your ERS while they burn it.
That's going to be great. I think ERS is another thing that a few drivers are struggling to cope with, because in the last game you could easily recharge your battery over the course of a few laps, but don't seem to recharge as much in F1 22. So the battery strategy in this game is a lot more important. We saw yesterday that drivers were flashing; they were under 10% on lap 3. It was, so that can jeopardize pretty much the rest of your race. So a lot of things go into league races this year. There's a lot more to do with tires as well, and pressures and setups and all that. So I think I'm excited. I just like that no one knows the meta yet. So the races are exciting. I think everyone's fresh. Everyone's eager to have good races. I think you had a good race yesterday, didn't you? Or
I
on Tuesday,
did.
sorry.
I finished fourth after almost being taken out to turn one. Lost a few positions after a good start. Being bumped in the rear. And then also just avoiding carnage was the main point and plan, which I think will be the same style in
Yeah.
Jeddah, especially in the academy and the novice races
I think
with the walls.
set a record on Tuesday for most tickets in the FIA.
Very unusual because Novus has the reputation of being one of the cleanest divisions.
I
It
think
usually goes
Bahrain.
Academy, then Prodigy, then Novus, then Elite.
Yeah, I think the worst was Prodigy last season.
Yeah,
If I'm
I
not
think
wrong.
so. I know I was FIA for Prodigy that season, but it seems to
Which
be following me. I'm at Academy this season, so I think it's a bit following me. The instants have not been kind to I think anyone in the FIA this week, unless you're in Prodigy FIA.
I'm hoping for a clean race in Elite, boys. So if any of the Elite drivers are watching, please keep it clean. I'm begging, please, because I've seen the tickets. It's not fun tickets for all of them.
I mean, I got a bit lucky with Academy that it wasn't too hard to define who was at fault or who wasn't at fault if it was NFA.
You had over 20 tickets in Academy.
Yeah, but a lot of them were pretty cut and dry, luckily for us. And some of them got thrown out because we had to red flag the session after lap 19 because there was a bug that wasn't caught that produced a lot of desync.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
There was a McLaren just stuck at turn 4, just hanging
Yep.
out around the exit.
We're just having fun.
Just having fun.
Just vibing.
It's one of the good things about the new game, just having fun. Everyone's in that honeymoon period. And I think later on, towards the end of the season, when points are more and more important, when the championship is more straightforward, I think that's when everyone starts leaning forward. Like when you're playing FIFA, you lean forward. Take it seriously. Get those points going.
I don't know what you do in FIFA, but I try to stay away from Ultimate Team. I'm a career mode kind of guy.
Ultimate Team is so much fun.
Oh, no, I'm not into that kind of thing. I'll be honest. I prefer career mode, but it's sad because I've stripped a few things since 2007.
I mean, I think the good thing about career mode is that you don't actually have real money or any coins on the line if you gamble.
That's true. It does happen from time to time. But hopefully, I think the biggest challenge that the elite drivers will face is having 2 shakeups in handling of the game in 2 weeks. So in Hungary, there was a patch on Monday night that affected all the other drivers from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then this week there was another patch by Codemasters on Tuesday night, which we were forced to install in the middle, in between the sprint and the race. Which is one of the reasons why I went medium TC, because apparently they've made it so, from what I've heard, they've made TC, you can feel it more, but it's a bit harder to drive.
Yeah, I think it was catching a few people out in the race yesterday, especially the new update. I think Prodigy and Elite are the unluckiest ones because they have the handling change in the middle of the week, so they don't get to practice. But I won't be surprised to see a few other drivers switching from no TC to medium TC, obviously as they get to grips with the new traction model. Here in Elite, we don't have any traction enabled. The only assists we do have are racing line through the corners and ABS. So we're about to see if drivers have had enough time to come to grips with the new traction model. I think, given the talent and the skill some of these guys have, they'll be perfectly fine. But we're about to find out as we hop into the lobby. Loading is complete. Obviously, no qualifying today. Just straight to the grid for the sprint
Formation
race.
lap. They did change it as well, that the tyres now start cold on the formation lap like they do in real life, because there was a bit of a bug that made them a bit hot.
I remember starting the formation lap with 80-degree tires, which is not correct. In real life,
I think that
blankets are
caught a
limited to
lot of
70.
people out in my race too.
Oh yeah.
Because we switched in between the sprint and the race, and some people didn't check it.
Another thing that has changed is that tire wear is active on formation lap. So whatever damage you do to your tires, you'll carry with you to the rest of the race, which is probably
Did
something
not
to keep in
know
mind.
that.
Yeah, the more you know. The more you know.
That makes being careful on the tyres a lot more, because if you spin, then you're going to have a bit of a problem.
You can have very hot tires, which can be an advantage for the first 10 seconds of the race, but then you're going to carry that extra wear. As we see JJ and Crush spinning on the start of the formation lap, that's never a good sign. Hopefully they can get those tires warmed up before we start the sprint, but everyone's moving quite cautiously, not wanting to do too much damage. to their tyres. It is important to have good core temperature for the start. You want to get at least 85 degrees for the optimum start. Given that there is no traction control, well, having good tyres is basically the differentiating factor between these drivers here.
Looks like we do have everyone from the top 10 starting this race from the standings. Otherwise, if we didn't, Zakov would be in P9. Because he is currently leading the championship by a comfortable margin of somewhere around 20-ish points.
Yeah. 2 wins in 2 races, 50 points. Pretty good. Not surprised to see everyone on the mediums. I think I let Jacko know. I think Jacko planned to start on the softs. But Dodge, my Red Bull teammate yesterday, he did the soft stint for the sprint race. Started off the race pretty well, made up a few positions, but by lap 9 he was on 70%. So not ideal to use the softs in the sprint. I think all these drivers do that from the sims and practice sessions. So it's a medium tyre. Won't have any tyre advantage for anyone today. So someone spun. It's an Alpine, I think that was Zay, so he might have hot tyres. He might be one to watch for the start. The approach to final corner.
We're seeing a few of them disqualify on the line as they missed the lineup for the start. It'll be a bit of a disadvantage for a few people, especially in elite, as we know they can get off to good starts.
Everyone's on the grid. Lasco's on the grid now.
And it's 5 lights. And they're off as Crush looks like he gets a good start. Both the Williams looks like they get a good start. I think we have Spliff going down the inside of everyone. Doesn't look like too much carnage down to turn 1. As hopefully the game changes camera, it does. As we see Frozzle and Deku, might have been Frozzle. Frozzle gets hit. Or spins a bit. Or was it Deku? It might have been Deku because he also drops down the pack.
Might have been
Spliff also gets a bit of a tap from Crush going into turn 4. He falls down the order. Zakov already up into P4, making up a decent amount of positions on the start.
Yeah, Zakov had a beautiful launch off the line. He went from
as they go 3 wide into the hairpin.
TGM has a bit of a lockup. He touched the curb going into turn 10. That's going to lose him 2 positions. 1 to Spliff, 1 to JJ. He's bled a few positions off the start. Zakov is up to P4. Kebab in P10. He's been very unlucky with first lap incidents. He's leading off the pack now. Everyone's still going. Everyone's within DRS range. It's way better than the rest of the week. It seems that the guys who had the hot tires were able to get a good launch. Zakov's hunting down Crush. He's got his eye on the back of that rear wing of the Williams.
Definitely a little bit of a pack splitting up. As Dutch goes down, tries to go down the inside of Zay. Looks like he's going to make the move stick because he does have that advantage and have the inside line. But will Zay go for the switchback? He attempts it, but Dutch does cover off quite nicely. Zay does have the inside line into turn 3.
Beautiful. Clean racing. Love to see that. But they have lost a lot of time with that battling. P5 is now 3 seconds behind P4. This might cost him later on in the race.
Definitely will cost him in the sprint because you don't have much time to make up any time you lose.
And looking at Zakov, he's right behind Crush, having a great look at that Sofina rear wing. He's weaving to try to get some temperature into the tires, but I think he might be looking at a move down into lap 3. Pretty impressed with how everyone's stayed clean so far.
Yeah, only been a few incidents off the start. A few people got tapped, but they didn't lose too much. Nobody's really left the pack.
I think everyone's thinking about the long game. Survive the sprint, get to the feature race, because that's where more of the points are scored. Of course, you do get 8 points for the top 8, but the feature race is where most of the points are scored. Everyone's just going to want to keep their nose clean, make it into the feature race.
This Dutch is on the back of Zay, goes down the inside into the final corner. Zay gets a better exit.
But Dutchy will get the slipstream all the way down the long straight. He's not using his battery. Zay and Dutch are going side by side into turn 1. Dutch wants to go around the outside, backs out. Zay covers him off nicely, but that gives Spliff a nice look into him into turn 3. Spliff just hangs back. But oh, someone's gone around. It's a Red Bull.
Zakov. Zakov's gone around with an incident with Crush, it seems like.
That hurts. As a Red Bull driver, that hurts, but as a commentator, I'm obliged to say neutral. Zakov P17, that's something we didn't expect to see at the start of this race.
That wasn't in turn 4 either, that seemed like in the middle of the straight.
Might have been contact, I didn't get a good look at that, I just saw the Red Bull backwards. But that's not going to be good for his race going into the feature race. He's lost, I believe, 7 positions from his starting grid. But of course, this isn't the race. There's 7 more laps and 29 more in the race. Let's see how it goes. As Deku's off track. He may have gotten a warning doing that.
There's definitely still that 3-way fight between Zay, Dutchy and Spliff. You have Eckerman Crush.
EJM has gone around behind Eckerman. Sorry, he's gone around behind Spliff. Maybe a bit eager to get on the throttle to try to get a good exit, but he's gone round. He's spinning at turn 13. He's going to have hot tires. He dropped behind Zakov. DRS is enabled, remember, so this is when more overtakes are likely. I think Zay's probably going to get overtaken by Dutch here.
Looks like there was a bit of contact between Spliff and Dutch, but nothing too bad came of it. Everyone getting around nice and cleanly, but it's the closest racing we've seen all weekend. Or week, would I say.
Not surprised, these are elite drivers after all.
You're a little bit of the person you were worried about. JKO has made up a decent amount of places too.
I had no doubt in him. He's been practicing, he's been getting his setups right. He is moving up the grid. I think given the week Ferrari's had, they're going to want good points here in Elite from Jacko and Val. Sorry, his name is Vlad's in game, but his Discord name is Val. Keeping it clean, everyone's being respectful, but the front three have just pulled away given how much battling Zay, Dutchy and Spliff have been doing in the last few laps. I think the top 3 is pretty much decided at this point unless there's a spin. Ekem crushing Kebab will be looking at that P1.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh yeah. I think Crush may have just dropped out of DRS though.
The Williams have been in a tangle together. As Dutch makes a move on Spliff, I believe.
There's a bit of ghosting there, I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully the lobby settings are right, otherwise it's going to be a bit awkward. But Dutch and Zay are going side by side into turn 1. Zay covers it off nicely, but has to give space into turn 2. Dutch has
definitely
the DRS.
got a warning there for that corner cut. I know, because I did in my race.
He's got the DRS, but he's just holding back. He might not want to overtake yet. Probably playing the long game, wanting to stay behind with DRS until lap 10 and get the overtake.
As we see Kato and Gears duke it out a little bit.
There's contact going into 10-10. I believe that was JJ. Just lightly tapping Lemon. No damage, I think.
And no Zay also loses it into turn 10. Loses
a position to Val.
3 position. Slingshot Dutchy.
think that allows Dutch to push in that free air, try catch up to Crush. He may think he has the pace. He may want to push as hard as possible. Although he does have to think about Spliff behind, who has DRS. He's got the battery. I think he might want to go for a move into this, down this DRS straight. Or maybe he might want to hold
Turn
back
one.
to see what happens.
He does go with a
on the
move on
side.
the inside. Dutch goes deep, trying to get the inside line into turn 3, into turn 2. The better exit into turn 3 and hopefully hold him off into turn 4. As we
Using the
have
battery.
someone off in sector 1, looks like it's Frozzle.
The Spliff goes down the inside of Dutchy, is side by side. They're keeping it clean going into turn 5 and 6. This is beautiful racing. They're just giving each other enough space. But Spliff just has to back up and wait for another opportunity.
Good racing by those two, not making contact. Only in Elite Division you'll definitely find that.
That was beautiful. We saw what happened earlier in the week when a Red Bull and an Aston goes side by side. These guys have made it work though. And Spliff's gonna be making mental notes of what Dutchy's doing, how he defends, when he uses the battery, and we'll try and use that later on to make up positions. Jacko's up to P7, the silent killer.
He's
slowly
gained
watching everyone fight.
9 positions. The biggest winners are definitely JKO making up 9, Ezzy Code making up 6, Lemon making up 3, Dutchy making up 5, and the biggest losers are definitely CJM. I would say Zakov, after his brilliant start, lost a decent chunk after possibly having an incident and being spun. We do not know.
We'll have to wait to
As-
see if he makes a ticket later.
Ekim tries to go up down the outside of Kebab. Tries to go for the switchback to get the better exit out of turn 2.
Kebab's red
Going
light
to
is
turn
flashing.
4.
I think Ekim sees that red light of Kebab and he knows he's low on battery. Ekim's got an advantage, 40% more than Kebab. So I think Ekim's watching, knowing that Kebab's low on battery. He'll be thinking about making a move, taking his first pole position in
As
Lord
Spliff
knows how
and
many months.
Dutchy do the exact same thing they did the last lap, and this time Dutchy still comes out on top. This time there was a bit of wheel banging. It wasn't as friendly as we saw last time. There's a bit of elbows out there.
Yeah, because they know that these are the laps that count going into the feature race. Lap 7, it's getting closer to the business end. We know laps 1 to 9 don't count. It's where you finish on lap 10 that will decide your position for the feature race. So keeping it clean now, playing the long game. Everyone knows that lap 10 is what counts. So Spliff's going to stay behind now. I think if I were him, I'd be saving that battery and just waiting for a last lap DRS dump.
I think Ekim will be looking to go past Kebab here on the straight. He's got the areas to do it.
He's not using too much battery. He's just lightly tapping it 1 or 2 seconds at a time. He's got the slipstream behind the Mercedes. He's going down the inside. It's an easy pass with DRS. Kebab's going to have to give this up, get the switch back, hopefully get the DRS. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think
Is that
CJM may have gone
CJM?
round. CJM has gone round as Ekim leads the race going into lap 8. Kebab's right behind with DRS though. I think it's going to be Kebab and Ekim fighting for pole here, but Crush is in P3 menacingly looking back at both of them. He knows that if they fight, he's just going to gain time.
Kebab did
And
make a little
someone's-
bit of mistake by hitting the back of Ekim there. As Dutch seems like he's pulled away a bit from Spliff, as Val is now on the back of him, trying to fight.
I think Val may have had a bit of a moment because I looked at him going out of turn 4. He may have been a little bit sideways, which allowed Spliff to just pass him. Not too sure about that one, but Jacko and Vlad will probably be talking to each other in voice chat. Jacko might think he has more pace. He might say, hey, let me through. I'll try and get us a better position, but we'll see what happens. They may just fight like drivers normally fight, not teammates working together. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think Frozel's going around. He's not having the best race possible. He's new to Div 1. Last season he was in Div 1. Unfortunately, he did leave the league. He's rejoined. Not doing too well here. But looking further forward, you can see Crush with DRS on Kebab. Not sure if he's going to try and make the move going down the straight. He might save his battery knowing it's lap 9. Lap 10 is what counts going into the feature race. So never mind. He's going to have a look down the inside. He just backs off.
There's Val and Spliff looking to make a move potentially on Dutch, using that DRS to catch up to him. Will Spliff try to make a move? Down into turn 4. He'll stay behind. It looks like they're going to just stay behind for a bit.
Playing the patient game. I like the patient game.
Dutch also has a lot more ERS than his competitors, with a solid 20% more. As Frozzle again loses it into...
There's a bit of lag. Spliff grabs the position from Dutchy. I'm not sure if someone has alt tab or what's going on there, but he's lagged back on my screen. He's P5 for me. I'm not sure if you can see that yet.
Yeah, no,
But
I
he's
can
got
see
the
that. He did
DRS.
go P5. The camera wasn't favourable for us on that one.
Yeah, he has just grabbed the DRS. He's overtaken Spliff. Spliff will try to get a switch back.
I don't
Spliff
think
lets him through.
Spliff would have really attempted much there because he knows he needs to get him on the straight.
Yeah, this is the lap where it counts. I've said this like 4 times already. Lap 10 is what counts. Dutchy with 25%, Spliff with 11%, but with the DRS, with the increased slipstream in F1 22. We'll
Rush
see
has
if he
also
makes a
been
move.
managing this quite well as he's got a decent amount of ERS.
That
But he's
is
not
right.
going to attempt it.
He's just
As we
holding
see
back,
Zakov
probably
make a
waiting for the
move on
second
Lemon.
one.
Spliff and Dutchy try to make a move around each other. They hit wheels just a bit into turn 1. Where's the better exit? It looks like Dutch will have the better exit.
But Dutch had to spend a lot of battery to keep ahead of Spliff. He's now the same battery level as Spliff, both just flashing their lights. I think it's going to come down to the last of the 3 DRS straights. If Dutchy can stay ahead going down the DRS straight 3, I think he might have just locked himself forward for the feature race. He does get a snap of oversteer. His tires might be going off. All Spliff needs to do is just prepare the exit and try dump his battery, see what comes of it.
Doesn't look like he can make up those positions. It looks like he's either holding back or he just does not have enough speed down the back straight.
Might be a setup difference. But looking further forward, Ekum is about to come round the final corner. He does. It's Williams on pole for the feature race. That's going to be a very, very good result for them. Kebab is going to come home P2 across the line for Mercedes. Crush P3, making it a Williams 1-3 on the front of the grid. Dutchy takes P4, Spliff P5, Val P6, Jacko making up 10 positions in P7, Zay P8, Zakov gaining only 1 after he spun during the race. Not sure if that was contact, we'll wait for the FIA. But he's P9, Lemon P10. Zico, Gers, and JJ will finish up 11, 12, and 13th. Kato, Deku, CJM, and Frozo will round up the back of the grid.
Apparently Dutch was reporting some desync there. So that may be why he jumped back a bit. There's your info there. As JKO gets driver of the day for the sprint race, which is well deserved.
I told you he's one to watch. Not sure if a lot of the stream heard me. It was before the 8 o'clock cutoff, but I do think Jacko is going to be in the mix for at least a podium. I think Zakov is going to be up there as well. It's going to be very interesting watching those 2 drivers come up from the back of the grid. Hopefully, the drivers keep it clean as well as they did in the sprint. If they do, I think we're going to be in for a very good race.
Not many incidents on the race director. Obviously no pit stops.
No warnings either. Well, not too many of those for track limits.
Has to be the least amount of warnings I've ever seen.
This is elite. These are theoretically the best of the best. So,
Very true.
who do you think is going to win the race now that Ekum, Kebab, and Crush are top 3? We didn't expect this at the start. We thought Zakov would be up there in the mix, but who do you think is going to be fighting for the win going
I
into the
think
race?
if it was going to be anyone, it might be Dutch, as Crush has left the session.
That might be to fix an audio issue. We know that a few Bugs still exist in the game, so some drivers might choose to leave and try to reset their audio and join back in the session before the race starts.
Definitely possible. As we wait for a few players. So now would be the time too, because you've only really got the formation lap you have to be worried about, but you also want to also set up your setup. So if you're not, because he might have too much fuel on, he might not have the right set of tyres that he wants. We'll start him on medium, so being at the front, that's not too bad. He will have a lot of fuel.
I think medium hard or hard medium will be the strat. I'll just have a peek at the race director to see what tires everyone's on. I don't think we're going to see the softs unless there's a safety car towards the end. The softs do go off very quickly.
I'd be very surprised if we saw any softs until the very end of the race.
Barring a late safety car, of course, because I do hope we do have a late safety car. That would make the race very interesting.
It is very difficult to get a safety car in Bahrain because there's a lot of runoff.
That is true, but we did see one in France, and we thought France would be impossible to have a safety car on.
We did. Was that on the main straight?
I believe someone spun going down into the DRS straight, yeah. So
yeah. Because France, you can't get one if you make a bad exit out of the final corner too, because this is just it's the one part of the track that is very narrow.
I think collision, 2 cars DNFing, if I'm right, if I understand how the game is coded. If 2 cars DNF, that's a definite safety car. If it's just one and it's a certain distance off track, it would probably be a VSC at most. But then again, this is F1 22. Codes are very special in terms of how they code stuff. So you think you understand something one day, then the next day it's different. You think you understand the handling, and then they change it. So the only way to find out is to race the Ekam touches the curve and goes a bit wide. You don't want to do that in the race because that will lose you a bunch of positions. But everyone's getting ready on the formation lap, weaving, getting their
Seems
tires
like
ready.
he's just getting it out of the way now.
Yeah, of course, getting the race out of the spin. Sorry, getting the spin out of the race before we actually start the race.
There's definitely a few contenders in that top 6. Ekman and Crush are pretty good when they're not taking each other out. Dutchie has proven himself to be very good, especially after Hungary. Spliff is always up there every now and again. Jakio coming back has something to prove as Crush just joins. So he'll join just in time for the race. Zakov, never count him out no matter where he is on the grid, especially if you can get a safety car at some point.
Oh yeah. Lemon.
Lemon in the points after having a rough 2 races, if I'm not mistaken. Same with CJM. McLaren's haven't been doing too well. It's the McLaren curse. You know what that's like, Weary.
I think McLaren is inherent to some sort of curse because the first half of the season, last season, I was a McLaren driver. The first half was just unbearable. P10 in the standings, not scoring any points, wing damage on the first lap. But the curse will be lifted at some point. The drivers just have to do it themselves.
As we see the back of the grid line up, as Spliff does not get his lineup correct, as we're waiting for Frozzle to line up, taking it as slow as he likes onto the grid. They're lined up. It's 5 red lights, and their off was a bit of a long lights, and it did seem to catch Ekim off guard as Kebab gets a good takeaway. The cameras aren't very good for turn 1.
Well, I can tell you that Zakov's got a great start. He's made up 4 positions. They're keeping a clean...
As they went 3 wide.
I think into turn 1, but everyone seems to be alive. There's no one spinning in the back. Lemon leaves the session. He may have a few connection issues, but everyone has made it through the first 3 corners. I'm impressed. That's better than we've seen all week. It's done it twice in a row. Red Bulls are into P4 and P5. Zakov's in P4 already. Jacko has lost 2 positions in P9. Zay in P8. Ekam still leading 1. Kebab second. Dutchie third. Crush lost a few positions. I'm not sure if you saw what happened at the start, but everyone
he
is alive.
had the AI driving his formation laps. He might have some very cold tyres because he did leave. I think that might be the situation that he's finding himself under, losing that many positions off the start.
That might be correct because he is losing quite a lot of time. Crush is quick. He did qualify third into this race, so he is catching up now to the back of Zacho. Losing DRS in the lead is possibly the worst thing he could do to your race, because once the front just leaves you, they leave you. And the only position you'll be able to make up is if there's a safety car. But lap 1, everyone's still alive. Everyone still has a win, which is better than we've said for the last few races. The end of lap 1, we still have Ekem in P1, Kebab second, Dutch P3. There's a DNFer in the back. I think that's Kato. He's in the wall on the last corner. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
It went
there.
straight as... There's even more carnage. Is JJ Gears...
There might be a
I
lobby
think
reset.
it has to be a lobby reset with this many DNFs.
Everyone is just sending it into each other. That's hilarious.
There's a corner of death at the end of turn 1. I'm not sure. That's a bit... It has to be the biggest pile-up I've ever seen into turn 1 with Lemon.
That's a record. I think that's an ARL record for most cars in one corner.
Oh, that's an interesting one. It's always interesting to see people bin it into a wall and see where they end up.
I'll just have a look at the Discord to see if I can investigate the reason for the restart. So I believe there's an issue with tires. But as far as we know, it is a lobby restart. I believe you or me will have to be the host because there's an issue with one of the other drivers. So I think we should take a short intermission.
Yeah, we'll go to the start screen and we'll see you guys in a bit.
great. Way you're so pretty. Yeah. You got me waiting. 'Cause we have a date. Baby, I can't wait. Baby, I get my buckets. When I see you right, you what I want. Can you say for life, for life, for life? Dime que me quieres. Dime que yo soy para ti. Oh, baby, que me tienes. Baby, don't time, baby, don't time. I guess I don't wonder. Oh hey, you look so great. Way you're so pretty. Yeah, you got me waiting. 'Cause we have a date. Baby, I can't wait. Baby, I get my buckets. When I see you right, you what I want. Can you say for life, for life, for life? Dime que me quieres. Dime que yo soy para ti. Oh, baby, que me tienes. Baby, don't time, baby, don't time. I guess I don't wonder. I guess I don't wonder. Tonight, 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 baby. Hey. I guess I don't. I guess I don't wonder. Baby, get my buckets. When I see you right, you what I want. Can you say for life, for life, for life? Dime que me quieres. Dime que yo soy para ti. Oh, baby, que me tienes. Baby, don't time, baby, don't time. I guess I
And we are back after a little bit of intermission. It seemed like some people had problems with their tires. Some people's tires got reset and they were on 70, and that caused them to be extremely slow off the start and caused a few of the incidents that happened.
I think the new update has brought a few tire glitches. If you get reset to track on the formation lap, so if you disqualify yourself in the grid box or if you collide with someone or the wall, I think that does mean you get reset to 70. That might have caught a few drivers off guard, but even drivers who were not getting reset were suffering with cold tires. So that's a bug that Codemasters and EA will have to look into.
Hopefully soon.
We'll have it sorted out for this start. I think this is the only race week where we've had every single division had to restart. So might
Did
just
every
be the
division
updates.
have
Oh
to
yeah.
restart?
I think we did.
Remember my div restarting? I think the only thing we had to do was, oh no, we did. We had to restart the lobby because of the patch.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't a
there was an
midday restart. It was just a halfway through after the sprint resetting for the patch.
It's the unluckiest patch release.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't too fun because it was the one that also added wing damage a bit more severe. So you got to be careful of that too.
That is true. I do remember driving with absolutely no front wing in the earlier patches and being absolutely fine. It is a bit slower, but it wasn't too bad. But if that happens in this race, you will be forced to pit. As we're underway again for the formation lap, the grid has been reset to how it was at the end of the sprint, so anything gained or lost during the first feature race will be ignored. Ekam is on pole, Kebab's next to him, Crash P3, Dutchy P4, Spliff P5 and Vlad P6, so no changes there. Hopefully we'll have another clean turn 1, 2, 3. Hopefully the tires work. Hopefully there's no bugs. But given the bugs we know are in this game, I don't have a lot of hope that the tires will be the same. Just hope the drivers will be aware and smart enough to check their tires just as they let go of the clutch. But we'll see how we go. So Salty, how are you feeling about this second restart?
Honestly, I don't know. I got no opinion on it. It could either be absolutely clean to the first corner like we had last time. There was a few wheel bumps, especially going 3 wide into turn 1. Or we will have complete and utter chaos.
I think it's very binary. It's one or the other. Super clean or super chaotic.
Yeah, because it only takes one driver to go off.
To cause all the chaos.
Yeah, to cause some utter chaos.
There's quite a big gap between the cars on the track at the moment. I think Ekam's philosophy is pushing through as much as possible to get the heat through the tires.
I do believe the
without having
heat's
to leave.
meant to stay on the tyres. It actually doesn't degrade as you pull up once you've locked into your
Really?
grip position. Yeah, I believe it's the same as F1 2021. People could tell me if I'm wrong.
21 was different. 21 you'd lose temperature. I remember
Did you?
having to wait for someone to reconnect, and we went from 85 to 69 nice degrees around Baku. So
Maybe I gotta try if I'm at the back, be more slow.
not sure if we do lose temperature in this game. They might have moved that feature. I'd prefer to have it on. Ekam is going around for a second formation lap? Sorry, what?
What?
Ekam is going around for another lap.
He's on the grid for me.
Ekam is going into sector 2 on my screen, so I'm not entirely sure what's happening. This might be the bug where cars stop and then others go, but half the grid's just going on with the race. They don't want to stop for the formation lap. They don't want to stop for the lights. They're just going. So
I'm not sure what you're seeing on your screen, my guy.
Oh, it's just
we're
reset.
getting the 5 lights. They are off. It looks like Ekin gets a bit of a better start, but still not the most perfect start. It's still some people have dropped back at the start already. There's people are making gains. It looks like Zekel's making gains as well. See if we can get a camera view soon. Hopefully, we can't really see anything good, but there we go. We're seeing turn 1 now. Looking pretty clean. A few people have gained and lost positions. As I say that, Spliff and Dutchy go off after colliding. Lucky to have caught that. They'll bring the yellow flag down the straight so nobody can really overtake until the very end.
CJM has dropped back as well. I think he got tapped as Dutchy goes round. There's a car on top of another one. My goodness. Dutchy's been spun round. I think an Alpine has mounted him. That was quite funny. I'm not sure if you saw that on your screen, but
Is that
Dutchy-
Aziko or Dutch?
I think it was Dutch. It was an Aston that went round and another car.
Because
might have been a
Dutch lost
Zico.
it into turn 1, so it must have been Aziko, because he's at the back.
That is correct. My apologies. That was a Zico. Dutch is going into turn 10 now. Zay has gotten a motive obviously. He's gone off the track. Dutch will get in a position from that.
I think
Jacko
he
is
might
watching
be,
behind him.
I think you're lagging a bit where you might need to have a bit of a restart, because that's definitely not happening on our screen.
It looks like I'll have to leave the lobby and rejoin it.
I'll cover for you while you're gone, because that definitely did not happen on our screen. You're definitely watching something interesting, more interesting than what we've been seeing. It's been pretty clean apart from that one incident that Dutch and Spliff had. But at the moment, Ekman's managed to lose Kebab by a decent amount. That's what he wants. Crush might try and make him move up the inside. Not being able to get it done to turn 1. There'll be a few other people trying to do it, just like the Alpines, the McLarens. Nobody really trying to make the dive except for maybe Aziko and CGM, but CGM has the inside line out of the turn 3 down to turn 4, as it looks like Crush is side by side with Kebab, but we've seen people go side by side through the second sector quite a bit in Elite over the past few sprint and the feature races. Someone else has gone off. Looks like it might have been Frozzle. It was Frozzle. Frozzle seemed to be either being tapped or spun around by himself. As we're seeing a few fights up and down that it's really hard for me to keep up. Sorry if I miss anything, but I'm going to. It's very difficult to keep up with all this action going off up and down the straights.
Wish I could help, but I'm only just rejoining the lobby, trying to get set up again.
Alright, as Zakov is now on the back of Kebab, he'll look to get past him as soon as he possibly can. Dutch Spliff is following behind Deku, 2% off JJ. Really bad start from Spliff and Dutch, definitely not what they wanted.
I'm pleased to announce I am back in the lobby.
Welcome back, as we see someone off at sector 3, which is Frozzle, which is a DNF, as he goes off into the wall outside, out of that corner. No VSC or safety car though. I think we would have seen one by now if that was going to occur.
And that is on the track, so I officially don't understand how this game works because the safety car coding it's all over the place. I don't know how it works. But moving on from that, unfortunately Frozzle is out of the race. He may have had an incident with Lemon on lap 2, but looking at the action on track, not sure if you've mentioned the tires yet, everyone is on mediums except for Deku, JJ and Gez, who are all on the hards, so they're going for the alternate strategy. Seeing what happened yesterday with Basing in Prodigy, he was on the alternate strategy, pitted lap 17 and came out in a very good position on those mediums. And if that race went on, if it wasn't red flagged, I'm confident to say I think Basing could have been top 5 given his tire advantage. So Gers, JJ, Deku will be ones to watch late into the race. You see Deku actually losing a position to Spliff, so I think it may have just jinxed him there, but playing the long game, remember the race is 29 laps. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish that counts. So Deku, JJ and Gers for the third time out will be the ones to watch. Looking further forward, Ekem and Crutch are 1-2 for Williams, who'll be absolutely delighted with that position. Zako's in P3, gaining on Crutch. He does have DRS, he's going in the slipstream around the outside of Crutch. Crutch probably not going to have much chance to fight that given how much speed Zakov has. He's going to take the apex, he was not alongside their Crush. But Zakov's going to be looking at that rear wing of Ekem and just getting motivation to pass and overtake him. Zakov's going to want to take this win. He did lose a few positions in the sprint. And Ekem's going to want to defend as much as he can. Of course, they all know that Zakov has a lot of speed, but we'll see how it turns out.
Ekem's definitely relying on Crush here to force Zakov to back off and worry about the people behind him, not what's in front of him.
I think if Crush plays it right, if he does the strategy, if he communicates with Ekem, I think we'll see Williams fighting with Zakov for the win here. I think it's very possible. Crush and Ekem are good at working together. They've been teammates for a while. They know how each other drive. The yellow flag in sector 2 at turn 10, I believe it's Lemon. Lemon may have gone around. He's rejoined the track safely. He's going to lose a lot of positions and a lot of time to Kato. Not sure what happened there. Might have been an easy lockup. Might have been a tap. But he's going to rejoin the DRS train in P9.
So we have Crush on the back of Zakov within DRS range. He'll look to stay with him as much as possible to help his teammate out, if possible. Doesn't look like a move will be made.
I think Crush will just wait for Zakov to pull him along into... Sorry, correction. Crush will have to look at Zakov's rear wing for a while. He just sits in his DRS waiting for Zakov to catch up to Ekem, and then once they're all in the DRS, they'll start to work together.
As the two Aston Martins go side by side. Aziko letting Dutch through, who is easily the faster driver out of the two, as it seems, as Dutch is already slightly pulling away, but Aziko might look to slow up Spliff to give Dutchy enough time to get out of that DRS. I'm surprised we haven't seen I'm surprised we haven't seen team orders from the Alpines, as we have Gears on the hards and Zay on the mediums, and Gears is definitely holding up Zay here.
I think if Gez does have the pace, he could pull Zay along with the hards into the race. The mediums do go off. Oh, as Zay spins! Just as we spectate him, he spins.
Oh,
the caster
no.
curse is alive and well in elite. He's going to lose a few positions, maybe 2 or 3, no, 4
He may even go to
positions.
the back of the grid. No, he'll slot in second to last, just in front of Deku. That's, as I was saying, it's not No, he does end up back at the grid. You don't want to be in that position
That will
at
be
any point.
unfortunate for the Alpine garage. They're in a good point scoring position, P7, P8, with the split strategy. So they might have been in for a very good race here. But that spin, it's unfortunate because, you know, Zay is a good driver. He is coming to terms with the new traction model. Just want to reiterate, there was a new update released on Tuesday. So the drivers have only had 2 days to practice and come to terms with it. Going into turn 1, Zay is having a look at Spliff and JJ going side by side, but he's going to want to get some of that action as well. He's going side by side with JJ into turn 4. He's using the battery. We'll see if they keep it clean. He does have a micro
As Zakov
leg up.
goes off in sector 2. Zakov is off. He just got past Ekim quite cleanly into the 4th corner, but couldn't hold it together by looks of it in the 2nd sector. Sorry to interrupt you there, Wera.
That's all right.
That was some good commentating, because that's a big moment as our predicted winner, Zakov, has once again gone off the track. And this puts the Williams drivers in such a good position.
I didn't catch what happened there, but Ekim and Crush will definitely be saying "let's go" in their voice chat. They lead the race outside of the DRS of Kebab, who's going to want to push a little bit more with his battery to try get there. But Zakov in P8, I wouldn't have predicted that at any stage. I thought he was going to make up positions. Thought he was just going to use his natural pace advantage to try get to the front of the grid. I'm not sure whether it was a mistake. I'm not sure whether it was a bit of a FIA incident, but he's going to want to make up as much position as he can. Jacko, another one I mentioned previously, is in P5. He's right behind Val in the Ferrari. They're following behind Kebab. They probably want to do the team game here, because if they play it right, they can pass Kebab and then set their sights on the 2 Williams in the front. So we have here Williams and Ferrari. What a battle in Formula 1. We haven't seen them at the front for, 20 years, 30 years? But here we are in elite. 2 Williams and 2 Ferraris fighting in the top 5. So if you're a historic F1 fan, this is probably something you're going to enjoy.
I believe Williams was competitive up until like 2014, 2013. I think they got P2 in the constructors and fell off quite quickly. Don't quote me on that.
Engine. I think that's when they lost Valtteri Bottas in 2016, so that might have been part of it, because Bottas is a talented driver, got lots of experience, so
Yeah,
I'd love to see them back at the front of the grid. That'd be great.
I would too.
Go
I've got a
TV,
good
Red
documentary
Williams.
on Netflix about Frank Williams.
The late Sir Frank Williams. What a legend.
Yeah.
How unfortunate we lost him.
Gave us a GOAT team.
A Go Tifi team.
GOAT Tifi. Without him, we would not have GOAT Tifi. His
Back
first
to-
Formula 1 team got stolen off him. Interesting fact.
He said, but I'm going to leave and make my own team and win everything, and he did. So good on him.
Balls on the man. As
But back-
Crush looks to maybe fake go down the inside of Ekim, but I think it's more orchestrated than that. As Val goes down the inside of Kebab, and Kebab not contesting it.
I think that was calculated from Kebab. He's a driver who likes to fight. He's got the racecraft, he's got the pace, so he won't enjoy losing positions. So I think that was a tactical move to let Val go ahead, give Kebab the DRS, let him recharge his battery. But what I think that does is open him to attack from Jacko, because Jacko will see the Mercedes in between him and his teammate, and is going to want to push to get past the Mercedes. Hopefully they can catch up to the 2 Williams up front, and I personally want to see them catch up, because I think that's going to be a great battle to watch. Kebab is alone. He's got no teammate, no one to work with, unfortunately. His last teammate, Peter Key, is unfortunately no longer in the Discord. So Kebab is riding this out alone. He has to fight 2 Ferraris and 2 Williams.
And the Ferrari behind him is looking as aggressive as it is red. With a lot of ERS in the tank, managing it quite well. Thanks probably to the help with Val there. He's got all the ERS in the world. He is going to be using it too, down to the first corner. Looks like he might make it quite comfortably. He's already ahead of the Mercedes by the time they make the apex of the corner. And he
think
should
about
still
letting through.
he should still have DRS. He will. He'll have DRS on Val, so now he's just going to use Val to hopefully get away from Kebab. Will probably be his plan as Zakov gets past Gears, which was holding him up, so now he's also been released.
But he is on the medium tire. I think in about 3 or 4 laps time, that medium will start to drop off. The hard tire will begin to become the preferred compound to be on at that moment in time. But Zakov, he's got so much pace. I know I'm a Red Bull Red Bull driver, but I just have to, I think everyone realizes how much pace Zakov has and how he's still going to be in the mix for the win despite suffering that incident earlier on. He's already broken DRS from Gears in around 4 or 5 corners, so I think his aim at the moment is just to save his battery or spend it, or just drive as aggressively as he can, wear out those mediums, catch up into the DRS of Kebab, and then play the strategy correct, because even if you're not in a good position, if you get your strategy correct, you can still be in it for the win later on.
Definitely the case. You're not out until the black and white flag has been waved.
Checkered flag. Black and white flag is a penalty.
Black and white checkered flag, yeah, you're right. I mean, they're both black and white. It's a very confusing, it's a confusing flag system.
As long as it's not red, it's good, in my opinion.
That's true.
Never been a fan of red flags after that experience in Belgium last year. Stayed
There's
up
no
until 3
orange and green flag.
I think you might want to join the FIA and
Yeah, maybe.
implement it.
As JKO does get past Val, which would have been probably team orders there. I don't think that was more aggressive or anything by the two teammates, as Val has used a lot of his ERS to get past and make that move on Kebab to allow JKO to also attack. I think it's now JKO's turn to use a bit of his ERS so they can make that gap to Kebab work, if they can break that DRS.
I think Jacko is seeing those two Williams. I think at this point in time, Crush might be a bit faster than Eckham. He's within that 4/10 window. You might want to switch. They might want to start switching around on the DRS rates to recharge and gain time to Jacko, because Jacko, he's been practicing. He's been putting in the laps, and they know how quick he is. He's top of all my time trial leaderboard. So I think they know that they're going to have to start worrying about him in a few laps. And Val, who's in Jacko's DRS, is going to join them soon. So as I said, 2 Williams, 2 Ferraris fighting for the win. Just like in the 80s, just like in the 90s. Kebab is keeping up with them, so don't count the Mercedes out yet. Zakov is 2.4 seconds behind and gaining as Val overtakes Jacko. Jacko doesn't fight that. They're working together quite well, doing exactly what Martin Brundle would have wanted them to do if he was their team boss. You see our first pitter, Kato, has gone into the pits. He's decided to get rid of the mediums pretty early on. I think personally it's a bit too early to go to the hard, because the hards will be screaming towards the end. He'll get that undercut now on the medium runners, but towards the end that extra tire was going to hurt him. So let's see what other teams decide to do, as Kato may have just triggered a bunch of undercuts, so a bunch of other strategic responses from the other teams.
Zakov's in a bit of a no man's land at the moment. Never really a bad thing, as you can focus on your own race, focus on your tyres and get them to stretch out a little bit longer if you want to go for that overcut. Still not too sure if the undercut or the overcut's the more powerful one, because I think that's more on driver's pace than anything else. How can you get those hard tyres activated? Can you do it quickly, or are you quite slow on it? Because if you're quite quick on it, then you might be able to make that undercut work. Quite slow on it, that overcut might actually ruin your race just a tad.
Speaking from experience, the overcut it will give you track position, but once you're out on those cold tires, it's very tricky. I may have been in a bit of an incident yesterday with SGN on cold tires, but luckily we talked it out. No reports were made, but I think cold tires is another thing to watch out for. Jacko,
as Jacko gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
5-second penalty as he goes into the pit, so he may have been trying to pull a strategic masterclass, but that 5-second penalty will throw it all away. He's going to have to serve that with F1 22. If you get a penalty going into the pits, you will immediately serve it. So that's going to put him 5 seconds behind anywhere he was trying to undercut or overcut. So that may have just lost him a few positions. Val's probably want to come in the next lap as well. I still think it's a bit too early to be pitting, guys. I think waiting a few extra laps will be better. Getting that tire offset with the fresher tires will really help you towards the end of the race. because having a 10-20% tire wear offset will gain you a few tenths per lap. Zakov has caught up to the back of Kebab. He'll be in the DRS zone, I think, within the next lap or so, unless one of them pits. But let's see what happens. Anything could happen at this point. We could have a safety car, we could have a few crashes, we could have wing damage. We don't know what's going to happen. That's the exciting thing. So
When will the Williams pull the trigger?
I think Eckham has to go first. He's the front car. He took pole. If we're going to be realistic, the car that takes pole gets the preferred strategy. So if it comes to pitting, Eckham should go first. Crush will try get the overcut, but he's going to have the cold tires when he catches
As we
up to
have
Eckham.
Lemon going past JKO on the back straight, which is not, if you're JKO, that's not what you want, is have someone on the older medium tyres pass you, because once you get those hards activated, you're going to be stuck behind them, and that will lose them a bit of time. As we see, Ekim, Val, and Kebab all pit on the same lap, so where will they end up compared to JKO is the big question.
I mean, JKO, I'm sorry, I was wrong. The 5-second penalty was not served by Jacko, so he's carrying that 5-second penalty. So wherever he finishes, he'll add 5 seconds to his time unless he pits again. I think Jacko may have gained a few seconds to the cars ahead. He's going to get past Lemon, but Lemon will have held him up. It will have delayed him. He can see all the cars ahead of him going into turn 1, but he's going to have a nice 20-degree tire advantage on his tire. He's going to easily catch up to the Mercedes and Val ahead. So I expect to see a few attempts to overtake. Val is weaving to get temperature into the tires. Of course, that's allowed to a certain degree, but if it is too much, the FIA will have a look at that, because weaving is against the rules. Jaco is right behind Kebab, going round into turn 4 and 5. He makes an easy pass. That was easy as pie. He gets a bit of understeer, but he's right behind Val. He goes on the curbs, might have picked up a warning there. I think Val's going to have to get out the way for Jaco, because his tires are way too warm. But they've both jumped the Mercedes driver, so that's good for them. Just waiting to see where they come out relative to Crush, because Eckham has just pitted. He does have a 3-second advantage, so that might have been a bigger gap than it was before.
Someone's off in sector 2.
It's Eckham.
Is it? I thought it was Zay. It looks like
Zay.
yeah, it is. Eckham's just coming up behind him. Got to be careful when overtaking him into these next few corners, because you don't want to, while he will be slow, you don't want to have to ruin your race just by having a bit of a tap as Crush comes into the pits, and Zakov also comes into the pits.
Wonder what that's going to put them in relation to each other. The pit stop delta is around 24 seconds. Aziko gets 5 second penalty
seconds
going into the pits. These 5-second penalties. Oh, I think someone just nearly went into the pit while they're trying to get a slipstream.
An interesting one here is, it looks like Zakov comes out ahead of Ekim.
Zakov is ahead of Ekim, so that undercuts.
As Ekim and Zakov do touch, but then get the right way round. Could have been due to cold tyres. I'm not taking the line you usually expect from someone, especially if they're on that fresh hards. And then you've got JKO and Val also coming up behind, who will want to get past Zakov as soon as possible, because you know once those hard tyres activate for him, there's no going back.
I think Zakov's going to be crawling through the next couple of corners. He does lock up going into turn 7. He gets a bit of wheel spin more than normal, but Eckham is pulled away 2 seconds in just one sector, which really shows you the power of having warm
As
tires.
they're trying to go too wide into turn 10, JKO gets forced off the track by Zakov, and it does have a knock-on effect for the cars behind having to slow up more than usual. May have put off Lemon a little bit, who was on the medium compound. Still haven't pitted.
I think they're playing the long game because they know that tire offset's going to help them. But if you stay out too long, the undercut just becomes something that you cannot make up. I think it depends a lot on your setup, because if your setup's right, if your tires are taken care of, then you can carry that extra wear a bit longer and still have good pace towards the end. With the new patch, this is public information, but with the new patch, if you have higher pressures, your tires will wear out a lot faster. I experimented with a few drivers who are running medium tire pressures. As Jacko goes side by side with Zakov down the main straight, Zakov defends. Jacko will take that position easily, but Zakov will probably fight that into the next corner. He's got the DRS. Jacko almost spins. He does spin. That's going to be unfortunate. Might be the pressure. Might just be the side of that Red Bull behind him. But Jacko has spun. He's going to lose a lot of positions. He does safely rejoin the track. That's going to be so unfortunate. I had hopes really high for Jacko. He was my predicted second finisher in this race. I thought he was going to get P2, but that spin's really going to hurt him. His behind lemon once again. He's going to be absolutely beating up himself for that because he knows that was an unforced error.
Also affects the team game there because they were playing a very good team game because you could have had JKO overtake
Right. He's
Zakov.
spun again going into turn 7. Yeah, he's going to have hot tires carrying that for the rest of the lap. So unfortunately,
Yep.
he won't be in the mix for a podium now. I think at the moment it's P1, P2, P3 for Ekim, Crush, and Zakov. Zakov is catching up to Crush. Crush and Ekim should be playing the team game. They should be using their battery. They should be working together. I think if they play it right, they can take away a 1-2 here.
Never count of Zakov. The fact he's been able to keep up pace with everyone here and work his way through the field is very impressive.
I agree. I think that's very good. I think the only issue I can see is Zakov's battery, which is quite low. Crush has 50% battery. Ekim's in 37, so they might be saving, anticipating Zakov coming up later and going for attacks, going for dives, trying to make moves towards the end. Jacko does pick up another 5-second penalty. I think he is retiring from the race, unfortunately. That is quite painful to see. We'd hate to see drivers retiring from the race because anything can happen. You could get a safety car after this lap, but I think Jacko, he's punching himself up. He knows he could have had a podium here if it wasn't for that mistake. So don't count him out. I think he'll be in this championship towards the end. I think he just needs to get a bit more racing in him because this is his first race in the new game. So we'll see how he goes.
Everything seems to calm down just a bit now. The only really fights that we have is Spliff trying to get past Cadio and Lemon behind his teammate, being dragged along as we finally see Gears come into the pit.
I wonder where he'll come out. We'll see where he comes out after all of that battling. He's going to be on the medium tire, which is significantly easier to warm up to compared to the hards. So given that delta, I think he's going to come out just behind Val on the mediums, and obviously he's going to be carrying a faster compound, so he's going to be able to make up a few positions. That alternate strategy is powerful. I'll say it again, Bassink was on that old strategy yesterday and he made up a bunch of positions. He's come out just behind Val as I predicted, but he's going to be on those cold tires, so once he warms them up, I think he's going to be in that mix with the other drivers. I wonder when JJ is going to come in. He might be staying out for the softs, we don't know yet, but
I think Lemon's just come into the pit as well. Lemons is now finally on those hard tyres. As Ekim gets past JJ, because they have caught up to them now.
I think JJ will be a big factor.
He will slow them down because Zakov's already on the back of them, almost within the DRS of both the Williams drivers. As Gears is also fighting Kebab, as someone's also gone off in Sector 2. It's all kicking off now. Just to say it looked like it was quieting down, it's definitely not now.
I think getting past JJ will be crucial for Crush and Zakov because Zakov's already in the DRS of all 3 cars ahead of him. JJ's going to want to pit this lap unless he's going for the softs. Crush might go for a move into the last turn. JJ defends slightly, but Zakov's already caught up, so having that car on the alternate strategy in the way has really cost Crush, it's really cost Ekim because now they have Zakov in the DRS. He'll be able to recharge, he'll be able to
JJ dives into the pits.
JJ does go in, so he's going for the medium. He'll probably come up behind Deku.
I think the scariest factor for these drivers out in front is Gears on those medium compound tyres. They will be quicker. And he may end up being quite a heavy factor.
I think Gears,
if he can catch up.
Right. I think if he does catch up, he's going to give Val and Zakov a bit of a headache, given how much quicker his tyres will be. But it does take around 10 laps for them to fall off, so I think around 26, 27, 28, that's when the medium will start to slow down. But I think by then, he'll have caught up, he'll be in the mix for the top positions.
The only thing that will really shake up this race will be a safety car. The question is,
I
will we
kind of
see
want a
it?
safety car. I'd love to see a safety car, but I'd hate to see anyone DNF because it's never a good thing to see a driver not finish a race. Everyone does wait a week for these races. I remember just finishing my last race and just counting down the days until the next race. So I'd hate to see drivers DNF, but on the other hand, having a safety car in the last few laps is quite exciting.
Definitely builds up the suspense.
Zakov is
Zakov.
right behind Crush
Yep.
and Ekam. They all have similar battery levels, so it's going to come down to when they decide to make the moves, how they play the long game. If they want to overtake now and build a gap, or if they want to wait till the end. But Zakov, he's gone deep on the brakes. He's actually kept it together, so he seems to just carry so much more speed through turn 1. He's having a look at Crush. He's deploying his battery. He just thinks about waiting another lap. He's let go of his battery, but he is visibly faster than Crush and Ekam. He's right behind him. So Crush and Ekam might want to get onto that team game, overtaking to sort of block Zakov, box him in from overtaking. Cleanly, of course.
Yep. It's going to be interesting to see how this team dynamic between Ep and Kruss works against Zakov.
I think they can make it work. I think they could take away a 1-2 here.
Gears is also now on the back of Val, who was being dropped by the front three as well. So you'll soon see Gears wanting to also make on that overtake on Val too.
I think Gear's going to be a bit patient. He knows he has the tires. His battery is low. I think everyone is suffering from low battery. It's very difficult to recharge, so...
Especially here in Bahrain, where it's just straight.
It's just straights, barely any corners. So I think Gears is going to be patient and wait for his tires to just carry him towards Val. He's got 2-lap-old medium tires compared to 7-lap-old hard tires. So he's definitely going to have the extra grip, the extra traction. So he's going to gain. He just needs to be patient and then make the move towards the end after he's got a full battery to defend.
As
Another one to
Decker
watch
looks
is
to come down, yeah, he's going down the inside of CJM.
Another
those
one on
medium
the alternate
tires.
strategy.
Yep.
We'll just have a look at where everyone started. Deku is up 8 positions from the start. Gears is up another 7 positions, so that alternate strategy I did mention was quite powerful. It's working out very well for them there. Crush is up 1, Zakov is up 6, Val is up 2, Gears 7, as I just said. Kebab has lost 4 positions, so possibly a few strategy errors or pit stop timing issues. But at the moment, there's a lot of big winners and a lot of big losers.
It's the nature of a lot of races. You have some people that make a lot of places, some people who stay roughly where they are, and a few people that will absolutely plummet to the bottom.
You have to win some to lose some. For every winner, there's a loser. That's the unfortunate truth about racing, because everyone loves racing. Everyone loves to win. But unfortunately, for someone to win, another one has to lose. Zakov is right behind Crush. Just using a dab of his battery. He sees Crush flashing. Not sure if Crush is juicing, but Crush steps out of the slipstream, presumably not to overtake Ekam yet. I think he's going to want to
As
stay
Gears
behind
goes
Ekam.
down the inside of Val. Makes it a bit easy for him.
I think Val knows the tires are just much slower. He's going to get the DRS. He might just want to stay in the DRS and get pulled along by the mediums towards the end.
Zakov is now down the inside. Try and take a 2-for-1. It looks like he is. He's on P1 already. Trying to fight, but then he goes wide as the two Williams touch. Trying to make the corner. Zakov also goes wide off the track, making a pass off track. A bit of carnage here, but Zakov has now been released.
Not entirely sure if there was a bit of contact or if there was all this year, but there was a Red Bull off track. I saw Ekam and Crush having a few moments, so might have been contact. That's one to watch later in the tickets. But Zakov is in P1. He took 2 positions in the space of 2 corners. Crush and Ekam are going to be seeing that and wanting to take that position back. Crush
They
is
cannot
flashing.
let Zakov get away.
Yeah, once Zakov goes, it's going to be hard to catch him. But they all do have similar battery levels, except for Ekam. Ekam has the 30% battery advantage on both the drivers in P1 and 2. So Eckham will probably try and juice to stay within that DRS, but around Bahrain with the 3 DRS zones, it is easy to follow the car ahead. If you have a pace disadvantage, if you have a poor setup, you can stay within the DRS, let the car ahead carry you for a bit. But once you do get towards the end, I assume towards 27, 28, 29, that's when we'll see them going for moves. That's when we'll see them making the big lunges. But through all this, Gers in P4 within DRS of Eckham and Crush on those mediums, he's going to have a tire advantage. He's been silent but deadly. He's been making up those positions, pumping in those lap times. So the fight for the win is now down to P5. So we've got one Ferrari, 2 Williams, an Alpine, and a Red Bull in the running for the win. So these last 7 laps are going to be one to watch.
So we have a little bit of a scuffle for 12th place between Ezekoze and JJ. Down to turn 1 is JJ on those fresher mediums again, making an impact later in the race. But he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get a point.
I think the top 5 cautiously watching each other. Everyone wants it more than the other. Everyone wants that win. Everyone wants that podium. I think a podium for Ferrari would be big motivation for them, given how the result has turned out for them. Having a 16th and having a podium would be great motivation for them into the next race. Great points for them as well. Zakov is just teetering on the edge of that DRS zone. He wants to break that DRS, but he knows there's 3 consecutive DRS zones. If you don't break it by the end of Sector 2, going into Sector 3, then you're going to have to be pulling them along for another few laps. But Crush, Eckham, Gers, patiently waiting. I think Gers has visibly more grip. He's very comfortable just sitting behind. I think if I was Gers, I'd be looking to split the Williams so that they can play their games. But
Pato looks to go down the inside of Spliff on the main straight. Oddly enough, he's 3 lap older hards to Spliff, but he does manage to make the move done thanks to the DRS.
DRS is powerful. It is really powerful. But Spliff is right in his gearbox. He's watching patiently. I think he knows he's got a bit more pace. Maybe wanting to take that position back for the final, for the bottom 2 point scoring positions. It is 1 point for 10th, 2 points for 9th. There was a bit of a desync. I'm not sure if you saw that, but Kato went sideways for a second. Spliff is probably going to want to try and make a move down the 3rd DRS straight. He's right behind in the gearbox. He's not using his battery, but now he does. Going side by side into turn 11, I believe it is. He takes a position from Kato.
Rush may be out of DRS. He is out of DRS to Eckham, to Zakov, sorry. And Zekam's in Crush DRS. Will they do a swap at some point? As Crush is on 6 DRS and Eckham is on 10, so it's actually not much of a difference.
They're all very similar. I think it's just who can manage that bottom 10% the most, because you have to use your battery to keep up with that. Other drivers will use it. You have to use your battery, because if you don't, you're going to get dropped. But again, if you do use it too much, you have to run the risk of being left behind. So battery strategy is difficult. I think Gers, who's on similar battery level, will just be watching. I think Gers should start making moves as soon as he can before his tire advantage wears off. He's carrying 4 lap younger tires, but it is a softer compound, so they will fall off at some point. I believe the wear on the mediums after around 12 laps is 60%, so at that point the hards are well into their grip advantage. So Gers looking patiently. Is it Zico?
Zico, Zay and JJ in a fight. Been going on for a few laps now. Definitely the closest 3-way fight we have on track at the moment. It doesn't look like many positions are changing up with the 2 to 4. That could all change.
Right, let's take a breather. Let's just recount what's happening as we go into the last 4 laps. So Zakov, if I can get the correct screen up, he's made up 8 positions. He's going to be looking at keeping that win. Crush made up 1. Ekim was lost 2. He started the race on pole after taking pole in the sprint. Gears up 8 positions on the ultimate strategy and in the run to gain more. Val P5 made up 1 position. Kebab P6, he slowly dropped back. He's going to be suffering all those older tires. Deku P7, another one on the mediums. CJM P8, he was quite unlucky early on in the race, but it's good to see him still in the race fighting because anything can happen. Spliff has lost 4, Kato up 4, Dutchy just outside the podium, out of the point, He's lost 7 positions, so that might be due to a few incidents or a few spins, but he's not going to be happy with where he's finished. JJ up 1, Zay lost 5, Zico down 3, and Lemon down 5. Of course, JK retired in the pits after suffering a few spins, and Frozo had an incident just going into sector 3. Fortunately, we didn't catch that on stream. I'm not sure what happened there, but those round up the 17 drivers we've got on grid today. Gers is
Dropped back
just outside Icon DRS, so I think I caught him having a few moments. He's going to go into the pit, so he might have damage. I'm not sure what's going on there. He'll definitely be going onto the softs, and he's probably going to take the fastest lap away. But if he doesn't finish in the top 10,
no
wing replacement. So that
he's just going in the softs.
Doesn't make much sense. I'm not sure if he's controlling it. It might be paused. His AI might have pitted him. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but that has just thrown away a bunch of his points. So he'll definitely be out of the points unless he can use those softs to great effect to pass Dutchy, catch the fastest lap. So
Apparently he has disconnected, so the AI came and pitted for softs for him.
that is unfortunate because he could be in the running for a podium, but I wish there was a feature to turn off pit stops if under AI. That'd be a great thing for them to add because it really does ruin Gear's race because he'd be in for big points with Alpine. That's quite unfortunate, but that does take the pressure off Ekim, Val, and Crush. There's one less car to worry about. Crush and Ekim are comfortably P2, P3, 4 seconds ahead of Val, but 3 seconds behind Zakov, who's just running away with it. So I think we'll see Crush and Ekim fighting it out for the bottom 2 steps of the podium.
We see Ekim and Crush fight, or will they just keep the order together? Team orders, don't risk losing it all.
I think they'll fight. I think
they've almost touched once when fighting Zakov.
I think they'll definitely fight it out. I don't think they'll want to just sit and accept. I think they're definitely going to fight till the last lap.
We see Lemonov and again into sector 2. He's not having the best of end of races here.
We've seen a lot of drivers lock up into turn 9 and 10. It's so difficult if you don't have ABS on. Another reminder here for those watching who are new that this is ARL, this is Elite Division, this is the top tier. Only assist allowed are ABS and Racing Line. However, I can tell you now that a lot of these drivers don't have ABS on, so a lot of them will be locking up going into turn 9 and 10. It is difficult because you can get it right in time trial, but in the race with the tire wear, with the fuel loads, with the pressure of other drivers behind you and in front of you, it is easy to lock up. So Lemon's not the only one there. He's not the only one who suffered a lockup there. So
you see JJ and Eziko battle it out for that 14th, 13th. No points enough for these two, but I think they just want to have a decent race and have some fun racing at the end. Which I can't really say I blame them. There's Ekim's just holding strong. 6% ERS. Crush on 33. Excuse me.
tired, are we?
Yeah. Long night last night. Long night, few nights.
Gears has rejoined. Ekim's going to be in the slipstream of Crush. He's going down the inside. He's got 0% battery. He's going to go a bit deep on the brakes. He locks up. Crush does give him space to go into turn 2 and 3, but he's going to keep the slipstream and the DRS and the battery advantage. He's probably just going to sit behind Ekim.
Yeah. Sit back until the final lap and then use it all. Is what I would do if I was in Crush's view, because we can no longer get a safety car now.
That is correct.
So it is
It's too
looking
late.
pretty set. If Gears can come back, we may see him actually attack Dutchy by the end of the race. Not sure if he's back or not, if he's still under AI.
Gez has rejoined. He did rejoin in the middle of your yawning. I didn't want to interrupt that. I think he might try to grab the fastest lap. I'm not sure if I can check who has the
You
fastest
can
lap.
also get the 10th off Dutchy as well. That's also up for grabs between them two. So the final points place. And he will have quick tyres too.
I think he could even grab 9th here because Dutchy is right behind Spliff. Sorry, Dutchy's right behind Kato. They're all in a DRS train. So if Gez plays it right with his tire advantage, as he locks up horribly going into turn 11, I think he may have braked on the curb, may have cast a cursed in there, but he's dropped back. I'm not sure he'll be able to get DRS. He's left the session again, so that's unfortunate for him.
So we see the Williams fighting. Doesn't look like Crush used any of his ERS down that straight. When will he pull the trigger? Is it the back straight he's waiting for? Or are they holding the line? There's some team orders at play.
Crush does have a huge battery advantage, so he might be waiting till the third DRS zone. He might be carrying more downforce to set him up for a move into turn 9 and 10 for the final 2 podium positions.
The last thing you want to do is take out your teammate as someone's gone off. It looks like it might have been JJ that's gone off.
At turn 2, but Crush is using the battery. He's got the DRS, but he's a bit too far back to make the move. I think the race will finish in the order we find it. Icon gets a small snap of oversteer. He catches it though. He's not going to have any battery left going into the last straight. This is where he can make the move. The slipstream is more powerful than F122. So Crush isn't using his battery. He's stepping out of the slipstream into the clean air. So I think that's it. That runs out our final positions. Zakov is going to come home to cross the line and win the Bahrain Grand Prix. He started 10th in the sprint race. He's finished first in the feature race. That's a great ride from him. Ekum finishes second. Crush finishing third, rounding up the podium positions. Vlad P4, a great finish for Ferrari. Kebab 5th. Deku 6th, making up a number of positions with the alternate strategy. CJM 7th after a few incidents at the beginning of the race. As we're just watching
Dutch
the
is
last
going
few
down the
races,
inside of Kato. It looks like they've had an accident down to the last corner. Dutch will cross the line in P10, but only after a little accident there where we just caught the end of, and the camera angle was not kind to us.
Yeah, I think that might come down to a few FIA decisions, but that rounds up our finishing top 10 today. Dutchy finishes top 10. Kato is 11th, Zay is 12th, Aziko 3rd, JJ 14th, and Lemon, he's just coming around the final corner now to finish the top 15 of this race. We had 17 starters, 15 finishes, and that runs out Bahrain.
I think I might know who might be the driver of the day.
Who do you think it's going to be?
Might be Zakov, yep. I think there's not much surprise there with how hard he raced there and how hard he made up those positions to win the race.
Of course, this is before penalties, so we'll wait to see if anyone gets reported. Of course, there are points from the sprint race and points from this race, so at the moment, P1, 2, and 3, I think we'll probably see a bit of FIA there as there was a bit of contact as overtakes were made. But fastest lap today goes to Gez, who unsurprisingly would have taken it towards the end on those fresh softs. Unfortunately, he was on the AI. He would have been in the running for the top 5, probably even a podium if his AI did not pit him for soft towards the end. But he finishes P9. Dutchy and Kato P10, 11. We'll see what happened there later with a few replays. But
I will say it's definitely the least amount of incidents I've ever seen from a race as well. It was no incidents between lap 4 and 11, lap 16 and 26. I think that definitely beats a few records out there that I have in my head.
Yeah, this is a record-breaking week here in ARL, so
Yeah, seems like a few might have been broken. Tickets, clean racing, everything.
Everything. Even track limit warnings, because I'm surprised we didn't see any 3-second penalties.
Too surprised. Bahrain isn't the most, how do I say it, penalty gaining track out of all of them.
There's a few places you can catch them up. I think turn 3 is an interesting one, but for now, I think
I
we'll
think we get in the race winner.
get a few
Those would-
guys in for the interview.
Yeah, I think the first one has to be the race winner, Zakov. Let's get him in. Zakov, how was that for you?
Oh my god, I'm sweating, bro.
It seemed like one of those sweaty races. The sprint race
As soon as
definitely
I
shaked it
spun, I
up.
was like, yeah, no, I got to push this whole rest of the race, and I did. Went for the strategy, the undercut like 3 cars.
Yeah, it worked really well for you because I know JKO got stuck behind a old car and some.
Yeah, and then I kind of held him up a bit to wait for my tires to warm up, and I ended up pulling a gap, and he spun, getting in front of me, which is unfortunate. I really feel for him. That fucking sucks, but anyway,
Definitely
yeah.
a decent comeback after what happened in the sprint too.
Oh yeah, I hit a big bump off the road. I tried to avoid a collision. I went off, hit a bump, and just spun.
I mean, that's
What?
3
Totally
on
my
the
fault.
trot, isn't it? If I'm
I
not
think so. Yeah.
mistaken. It's 3 on the trot. Jeddah. Do you like Jeddah?
I love Jeddah.
So you reckon you can make it 4?
We'll see.
We're going for 4. How many do you think you can get?
If
this
there's no
season?
sprint
11
next week,
rounds.
if there's no sprint next week, we'll
There's no
probably
sprint
take
next
it
week.
away. Okay, good.
I can tell you when the next sprint is. Let me have a look. Give me 2 seconds.
I believe the next one is around Belgium.
Is it?
Might be a
Oh.
Spa sprint, so that's what I'm personally looking forward to today. Zakov, I have to ask, there's some rumors of some contact between you and the 2 Williams cars of
Yeah,
Crush and
it was a bit hairy going side by side through there, but I stuck it, and I knew I had to get past them. So yeah, there may have been a little bit of contact, but I think on my half I left the room. I went off the track to avoid spinning into both of them, and ended up coming back on, and they were spun behind me. I didn't really see much, but I'll have to look back at it. But I ended up pulling a 5-second gap anyway, just in case I get penalised. So yeah, I
And
was
see
pushing
that
pretty
you
hard
got
at
it.
the end there.
That was some insane speed. Can I borrow about 10%?
If there was a way, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, man. All right. Well, good luck for the next race next week, and
Cheers for that.
probably be
Commentating,
talking to
boys.
you then
Thanks for
too.
that.
All good.
See ya.
I think next it's only fair to interview the other Williams driver. So
Rush is currently
we should bring
muted,
in
so I think
Ekim.
I think we'll bring in Ekim. Ekim,
Hello.
what a race!
Yeah. First podium
Almost.
in ages.
Almost took each other out the Williams again for the second week in a row.
Oh yeah.
Definitely put my nerves a bit on edge being a fellow Williams driver.
I won.
What's your thoughts?
Hmm?
What's your thoughts?
Okay, so like, I'm happy with the race. It's just that like, I think it was in the early lap 20s. I had a moment and Sakov went side by side with me, and we made contact, and like, I lost 2 positions in it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm impressed with my drive, but I'm just sad that I almost got taken out.
Yeah, disappointed what it could have been.
Yeah, my first win
Yeah.
in a row.
Yeah. Well, it was an intense race, but you did good teamwork. Definitely the opposite of what happened in Hungary, and hopefully it can continue
Yeah.
into Jeddah.
Yeah, almost fun. No, I'm not gonna win Jeddah. I'm a controller.
Well, true. That will definitely, because it's a different breed of a track, isn't it? Especially
Yeah.
for controller.
Yeah.
I mean, you think you'll help Crush, tow him along?
In Chloe maybe. No, he has a Chloe ban actually. No.
Okay, so not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, was it team orders? I got a question. Was it team orders at the end there? Because it looked like either you or Crush had the. I can't remember who you got second day. Was it you or was it Crush that
Oh, yeah,
got second?
that was me.
Yeah.
Must
So
have
Crush
like-
had so much ERS.
No, because during the race he said he'd give me the position or something, and
Ah,
like I took it. Thank you, Crush, if you're listening.
all right, dude. We'll leave you to it,
Okay, bye bye.
and good luck next week.
Yeah.
I think we might just end it there because I think everyone's pretty tired. I'm tired, as you heard, with the yawning.
I'm tired as well.
Yeah, it's been an intense week. A lot of incidents, a lot of FIA tickets, streaming, racing, the whole shebang.
It's been a very action-packed week. I think
Yeah.
Elite did not disappoint. We started off on a carbon crunchy start on Monday with Academy, and I think we ended it off with a pretty clean, pretty exciting race here in Elite. So I'm looking forward to the next week. We're going to go back to the original format. It's going to be 18 minutes of qualifying followed by a 50% race. So I'm excited to see what comes next week. So
Yeah. Well, if you are new here, we race Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. AEST. And we also have a promotion on. If you do subscribe to the channel in the month of August, you go into the draw to win one of three $50 Steam vouchers. So if there's a game on the horizon that you are looking forward to, whether it be F1 Manager or you just want to do it like me and spend it on CSGO cases, you can do whatever you want with it. You have to be in it to win it. But we will see you next week on Monday.
bye.